Next up, we're going to work at the calf muscles. You've got quite a few muscles here in the lower leg between the knee all the way down to the foot. 13 muscles in particular between the knee and the ankle. You got 11 muscles in the feet. Those muscles in the feet work with the calf muscles. So if you've got calf issues, if you've got plantar fasciitis, shin splints, calf cramps, Charlie horses, you're going to want to work your foot muscles and you're going to work your calf muscles kind of as a team, working those together. We're going to go over some muscles in the back of the calf on a general basis. There's other things we can do in other segments when we get into that. To start off with, you're going to want something that's maybe a bumpy roller like this, like the rumble roller, the blue one from those guys, or the black one that I have is a bit more firm. This guy's about 30-35% firmer than the blue one. The fact is the bumps are going to do a better job getting into those spaces. You've got 4 major areas you want to get into on the back of the calves with the gastrocnemius and the soleus attached to the Achilles. The soleus muscle itself is quite thick, quite big. Underneath that soleus, you got the flexors that work onto the toes. They go from the back of your calf all the way through the inside of your ankle to the bottom of your feet and attached to the toes themselves. Then you got that posterior tibialis muscle deep between the 2 bones. So 3 major sections, 4 actual layers, because you got this outside the Achilles, then inside the Achilles is soleus, then the flexors, then the post tib. If you're using a smooth roller, you're just not able to get in there like you can with the bumps on these guys. And then in addition to this, there's other tools you can use. Even a tool is better than a lacrosse ball or a golf ball. They can get in there better too. So we're going to go over how you use this with a blue bumpy roller from Rumble Roller. Then we're going to get into some other stuff. First up, I want to put your calf on top of the roller where the back of that heart-shaped muscle, that kind of a upside-down heart-shaped muscle back here, the gastrocnemius, we're going to get below where that is on top of the roller right at the base of that gastroc. So it's the thickest part of your calves. We're going to put on top of that roller at the same time. Now many of you that roll your calves, especially if you're using a smooth roller, you feel like you have to get more weight into your calves to get a good job. So you'll take your other leg, put it on top, you'll lift up and hold your butt up off the ground, and you'll roll back and forth like this, trying to get into those areas of the calves. It's not a bad idea if you want to stimulate some stuff, get some circulation through there, maybe break up some very minor stuff that's in there. But if you're going really fast, think about it this way. If you've got a stone and you toss it out over the water, it might take a little practice, but you can skip a stone across water, but if it slows down, it sinks. We want to get through more than one layer of tissue back here. So if you go fast, just think you're staying right on the surface. Slow it down. Take a deep breath. Even if you have to do one leg at a time, slow it down. Take your time. Rotate inward, rotate outward. That's going to do a much better job than rolling the length of your calf all in one go, one or both legs at the same time. If you rest your butt on the ground, that's going to help you do a better job down here in the calves. Why? Because this muscle, that gastrocnemius, crosses the back of your knee. It attaches to your thigh, it attaches to the Achilles, crosses the back of that leg. How do you think you're stabilizing your knee, holding the weight of your body on your lower leg, if you're not activating that muscle just a little bit? There's a good chance that you would damage your knee if you kept everything completely relaxed, hamstrings, gastroc, all of it, even a muscle inside the knee called the popliteus and the plantaris. If those 2 muscles and everything else was turned off and you did this, first of all, you couldn't stabilize. Secondly, you're not getting in very well if those muscles are active. So turn those muscles off. If you're going to lean back on your hands, that's fine. Rotate inward, rotate outward. When you do that, you're probably not going to need that other leg on top. It's probably going to be too intense with both legs. So rotate in, rotate out. You can do both legs at the same time with the large rumble roller. It's about 31 inches long. Plenty of space for you to work into both legs. As you rotate left and right, you'll find there's some bumps in there, what I like to call speed bumps. But basically those are ridges of tension, knots, clusters of trigger points, adhesions, whatever the case. It's not our job here to diagnose exactly what that is, but you should be able to figure out, oh, I got some stuff in there that's probably not working so well. So rotate left and right, find where that spot is, and shift your weight forward and back, but remain on your tush. You do that, you'll be able to get in there with as little pressure as is needed. If you need a little bit more weight, put the other leg on top. You shouldn't need more weight than the other leg. If you do, you're activating those muscles way too much. Literally, it's like getting a massage and you tense up every muscle while they're trying to massage you. Turn it off. Turn it off and just relax. You'll get in there a lot better. You'll get faster results. You do not need to roll the entire calf to get results on this. If we're starting at the biggest, thickest area of the calves, you get releases through those areas of muscle. That muscle tissue is going to work better. Then the other areas don't get as taxed and you work into those areas separately. So rotate left and right, 3 or more rotations. Stroke forward and back on those knots 3 or more times. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Try to do them slow and methodically. Think Tai Chi, when they move slow and go through the movements. That's kind of what you want to do on here. After you spent 2 minutes or so working one area, remove the roller from the back of your calves. You might want to rub that down just a little bit to restore any normalcy to the back of the calves. If you've worked deeply, especially with that black rumble roller or some of the other tools we'll get into in a second, some of these muscles are going to freak out and tighten up in response to the pressure. Remember, when you push on a tight muscle and you push too hard, too quickly, that muscle responds by tightening down. So if you use these tools or some other tools and you notice you feel tighter afterwards, you were using it too aggressively. Slow it down, relax, put less pressure into the tool, you'll probably get a better result. As soon as you feel like you can handle weight on your feet, you're going to stand up, take a few steps around the room. You should notice that as you walk around, you have an easier time picking your feet up. The whole chain below the knee seems to work better. That's what we're looking for. You can simply do your thing without as much thought going into raising your heel up off the ground or pushing your toes into the ground. So everything should feel like it works better. If you've had Achilles injuries back here, take your time with this to make sure you don't re-injure anything, but you should notice over time this gets healthier and healthier and you can push and get in deeper and deeper. It doesn't hurt as much. That's what we're looking for. Muscle tissue getting healthier and healthier. Now, in addition to using the blue or the black rumble roller, we can get in there just a little bit deeper by using either the new Beastie bar or the Beastie itself, which is like a lacrosse ball but with spikes on it. This guy's going to get in there a whole lot better than the rumble roller, whether it's the blue or the black. So you do want to proceed somewhat with caution with these tools, because at first these are going to be too intense for a lot of you, but you can scale it and not put as much pressure. So you put one leg on there at a time, you sandwich your center of your calf between the two balls here. That's going to be a little bit easier process to work with the Beastie bar initially than the Beastie by itself. If you notice on the Beastie there's a spike pointing straight up off the tip of this. All right, the way this fits into the housing is that one point goes straight up. That's going to get in there really well. These guys, you can offset that a little bit by rotating the balls on that axle. You can get in there a little bit like you did with the roller. You can dig in, a little shift forward and back, make circles with the foot, make circles the other direction. You should notice that as you make circles, some of you are going to have kind of a gap where you can't make a full 360-degree circle with the toe. That's what should improve over time, as well as your comfort on that tool should improve over time. So this gets more tolerable, and that circle you make with the toe gets much more perfect. Both sides, you're rotating clockwise and counterclockwise. So you may need to pick up in place to adjust your leg on here, but you're going to want to work anywhere along the back of that calf. Work one strand first, left, right, making circles. Then get up, walk around, work another part. Down closer to the heel, there's mostly tendon, not as much muscle. Up higher, there's a lot more muscle tissue to work. Start in the bigger areas, work your way to the smaller areas, get into either end of the joint, end of the limb, after you've worked the middle. Middle to the ends for self-care. Now when someone's working on you, it might be a different approach, but they're the professional doing their work to you. Don't argue with them, just make sure they're doing a good job. The ball itself, there are some certain specific techniques you can do with this. They're going to get in there a bit better. You might notice that a seesaw technique, where you rock your heel to the ground, rock your ankle, rock your knee closer to the ground, that's going to be a scaled version to get in there before you start doing circles and so on the back of this spike. Remember, you're going to have one point pointing straight up. That can be pretty darn intense for some of you, so let's be smart about how invasive you're going, how quickly. Start with this guy. If you want to test out the Beastie bar and the ball, start with him, work your way to him, or you can take this out of the base. That's one way to scale that single ball and roll around a little bit. But the more unstable it is, the more you're going to have to actually work to stabilize yourself, which means you're activating those muscles a little bit more. So this might be a good way to start, kind of moving around, but you want to brace it and some kind of support to hold that point up eventually to where it's pointing straight up and you can get into those tissues better. Eventually, you keep working on these on a regular basis, you'll notice it gets more and more tolerable on this guy, on this guy. If you've got lacrosse balls or smooth rollers, you'll get to a point where you try to put your leg on top of a smooth roller or lacrosse ball and it just won't feel like anything. It literally is like a massage therapist keeping the hand like this as they try and work into the tissues, and it's kind of a waste of time. So good luck with these tools and with your techniques, and hopefully everything works better for you going forward.